Hey, my name is Hannah Miley. I am a triple Olympic swimmer. I've also been to the last four Commonwealth Games and I am a double Commonwealth champion. I've won medals at European Championships, World Championships, both long course and short course, and I am 31 years of age. So, as a swimmer, I am considered quite old, but I started my journey when I was 15. So, I've had a very long career swimming up and down in the pool. My hair has been pretty much predominantly up in a pineapple, like this. Wet hair, that's kind of my look, goggle marks, cap line. But those are the signatures of my sport, of which I have loved. It's given me lots of life lessons. I've had many successes, but also many lows as well. And from those lows, I've taken a lot of life lessons from. So yeah, it's been an incredible journey.
What are your biggest sporting achievements?
So my biggest sporting achievements kind of varies. A lot of people assume a sporting achievement is being on the podium, and yes, it is amazing when you get to win a medal. But sometimes it's the stories and the journeys to get to that moment that actually is possibly the biggest achievement. I guess making my Olympic team for the first time in 2008. It had been a dream of mine since I was very young, so to finally achieve that long-term goal was pretty special and pretty spectacular. You know, it's the Olympic Games, it's once every 4 years. You watch your biggest sporting heroes on TV, so to finally be there in the venue instead of sitting on the sofa watching it was a pretty special moment for me. But I guess my most favourite achievement was the Commonwealth Games in 2014. Not because I became one of the three women who have been able to successfully defend a Commonwealth title. You've got Helen McKay and Liz McColgan. So I feel very honoured to join those incredible women. But also just the year that I had leaning into it was just rubbish. It was so pants. I was getting my butt kicked every time I tried to race, and I was working so hard and I just wasn't seeing the results. So everything just came together, and it taught me a lot about patience, consistency, and persistence as well. Even when I was losing a lot of faith and belief in myself, I had such a good support network that really helped keep me going, that helped me through those really difficult, tough times. So to come away with the reward of being a defending Commonwealth champion was pretty special for me. So I guess that's probably my favourite sporting achievement. But yeah, you can't not going on to the Olympic Games teams. They're pretty cool as well.
What's your experience of being a woman in sport?
So I really love this question. It's been quite thought-provoking, and I've actually really struggled to try and find a way to answer it. So as a woman, my experiences in sport have been both positive and negative. Been many different things. I do feel in swimming we are in a little bit of a bubble. I've never been made to feel isolated or feel like I am any less worthy than the males. The one thing that used to really frustrate me was coming into taper time or coming into speed events, the boys got more rest than the girls, and that would drive me mad. I thought, why can't we do the same thing? But as I've gotten older, I realized that female physiology is very different to male physiology, and the coaches were basically working the best program to get the best out of both. There was no point doing a blanket training session to fit everybody, because that just wouldn't work. So I was very lucky that my coach was willing to know the differences and to make sure that they worked with the best for each gender. So I feel quite proud to have worked with a coach that was really open to working with female athletes and was willing to know that there are differences between how males and females train. So for me as a woman, I feel that's quite positive and quite empowering. You don't have that demoralizing factor of being like, oh, well, so-and-so got that much rest and they swam fast and I didn't. But yeah, and that sort of information I've slowly been able to gather as I've gotten older. It's not been straightforward. It has been quite difficult to kind of get my head around it, but I do wish, the one thing that I really wish I had information on was female health. We're very exposed. We're in just a training suit, so when we get our periods, it is quite embarrassing, and sometimes you just don't feel comfortable in your own skin. So that's one of the things that I really struggled with as a youngster, and I went to see doctors about it. I was having really bad cramps, and it just wasn't great. I wasn't able to perform or train, and they just sought out a quick fix solution and go to be put onto medication to sort it. And yeah, it, you know, it sorted it out, but I didn't realize until I was 30 the actual damage that I could potentially have done to my body by not fully understanding my own physiology as a woman. So I'm hugely for education. Knowledge is power, trying to help young athletes coming through, or even current athletes. It doesn't matter what age you are. I do think it's important to share that information for us to be okay in our own bodies and to understand what's happening and to look for the little red flags so that we can still get the most out of it. So yeah, for me, that's possibly one negative side, is not having the information on the female body as a youngster. And because we're all the coaches are male as well, well, the majority, there are some female coaches, but for some reason it is very male dominant on poolside. They don't want to talk about it. It kind of gets swept under the carpet. They feel embarrassed, and I guess as a female you feel embarrassed as well because you don't want to share that information. It feels too personal. So that's one bit that always kind of stuck out with me. But as I've gotten older, I feel more comfortable to talk about it more openly and just trying to advocate it a bit more. And the information is there for anybody to find out, whether it's both male and female. Doesn't matter which. I think knowledge is power, and it's important to know about it. I've never personally had any inappropriate questions being asked. I've always been asked, you know, how hard are you training? What's your goals and ambitions? What you're looking forward to? Are you going to win medals? Those kind of typical sporting questions. I do know that sometimes in some sports, they can be very gender specific and sometimes be quite undermining and demeaning. So for me, I've had quite a lot of positive sort of experiences when it comes to media questions. But I guess that probably comes down to my own stubbornness. Like, I want to portray that these are the answers I'm going to give you, regardless of the question that you're going to ask. I want to be asked the same questions as the boys, and I will answer it the way that I want to. So I guess my self-confidence has kind of been helped through sport, because you have to know what you want to do. Because if you feel like you're floundering or you're not sure, elite sport anyway will just eat you up. So you do have to be pretty firm in what it is that you need and want to get to that next level. So I definitely say apologies is a very waffly answer, but I'd probably say it's been more positive than negative. But I think it's great now that we're certainly getting a lot more information on like women's rugby, women's football, like the World Cup, where, you know, Team Scotland had made it through into the World Cup. So we're certainly seeing a lot more information and people reporting on women's sports. So for me, I do feel it is positive. There's still a lot more that can be done, but the more we can talk about it and the more we can celebrate it, I think is going to really help.
What would you say to young girls in sports today?
I'd be a couple of things. First one would be kind to yourself. It tends to be a phrase that gets thrown around a lot, but genuinely we can be our own worst critics. It's very easy to always pick up on the negatives. I mean, how often do we actually take a compliment gracefully? How many times has someone said, oh, your hair looks really nice? You're, oh no, I didn't brush it this morning, or it doesn't feel great. We always seem to jump onto the negatives more quickly than we do to take on the positives. So be kind to yourself. Don't put yourself down. If you start saying, oh, I can't do that, or I'm not good at that, you know, before you even started the task and you're putting yourself down, those negative thoughts can really have a big impact. So make sure you are kind to yourself. Feed yourself with positive comments more often. It is important for your own mental health and self-growth. And a happy athlete is normally a fast athlete, an athlete that can compete and enjoy the moment. So make sure that you're doing things that do keep you happy. Don't feel like you're having to be forced into it. It is okay to sometimes not be okay, but having a good support network, I think, is really important. So you can talk, you can offload, you can, you know, not feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders.